refugee is somebody who is running away from his country to take refuge in another place.
A refugee is someone who comes from another country to seek maybe refuge or greener pastures at another country.
All the boys and women that are suffering from Bujuba and Rwanda, they are coming to Accra.
Someone from another country, maybe coming to another country.
Who really have a problem in their country, like maybe there's a fight going on in their country and then they've moved to another country.
In terms of war or at disasters and things.
The late 1989 saw the beginning of Liberia's civil war, which lasted about 13 years. That was the beginning of their political unrest and the displacement of thousands of Liberians. More than 40,000 Liberian refugees were brought into Ghana as asylum seekers to live in the Bujuburan refugee settlement, which is about 25 miles from the capital, Accra. In the spirit of African unity and brotherliness, these refugees have lived very comfortable lives until the 19th of February 2008. Women and children left their homes, abandoning their very means of survival to occupy the open field on the Bujuburan camp to embark on a silent demonstration. This was in support of a petition addressed to the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees, UNHCR, in Geneva, demanding the 3 durable solutions for refugees the world all over. 1. That they did not wish to be integrated into the Ghanaian society. 2. That they wish to be resettled in a Western country. 3. That they wanted each Liberian refugee opting for repatriation to be given an amount of $1,000. They, however, gave reasons for each solution.
That's it. We're supposed to be educated and prepare us in a situation that one day integration will come about and we'll be able to fit into the society and the job market so that we can be bought so easily. But I felt with myself, then gave me 3 months training for pedicure, 3 months training for plaiting hair, 3 months training for baking bread. That as blue is not sufficient to keep me into this nation.
Even though the issue of resettlement is not within the domain of the government of Ghana, the refugees leveled certain charges against the Ghana Refugee Board.
I will tell you boldly, when we went for verification, it was acknowledged to every refugee on Camp Mboro. The immigration officer will call you, John David, when you get there. Say, John David, I thought you were in America. You say, why? Say, but this name no more exists in Ghana as a refugee. These people go to America. Then you, John David, will ask, okay, if this name existing in America, not in Ghana, can you please tell me the list of family members? Yes, indeed. The immigration officers will outline all of the family members. Real. It didn't happen in one person's situation. It happened in more than 10, 15 cases. If you may want to make reference to this statement, I will ask if you could make a thorough investigation with respect to the Ghana Immigration office. Ask them. At the time they were verification, they were using our fingerprint. So even my ID card, nobody can use my ID card without the fingerprint. So when we got the information found that people were on our name in America or Canada or Australia, then we asked the question, how did these people go to America, name, or Australia?
Resettlement issues are handled by UNHCR, and they only report to us which individuals have been resettled. But to the best of my knowledge, it is not true that resettlement slots are sold to Ghanaians.
We want to bring an end to this wonderful refugee life and get back home with a little increasement in the pockets, or people that have funny fear that meet the criteria to be resettled, so that we can bring an end to the refugee life. I came here without a gray hair being on my head, but now look at my head.
We were returning home to our mother's land, and when you get to Liberia, UNHCR give you $5. That is, I think 35,000 cedis equivalent. And we realized that it was not sufficient at all.
And they were offered $100 per head for returning to the country. And some of them are saying that the $100, one, is not enough. Two, there are some of them who had been combatants, and some of them were also scared for their lives. They're also allowed to take one suitcase. Considering the fact that people have lived here for more than 10 years, and you're asking them to go back with one suitcase, if they want to go back with more, then it means that they would have to pay.
After we got the information that a budget of 58 million United States dollars will be passed for Ghana Refugee Board to receive for the integration of Liberian refugees in Ghana, we decided since that money will be given to the refugee board, let the money be distributed among the 27,000 refugees that wish to go home. Those of the 27,000 that may want to stay in Ghana because they are already on program, because we have the P1 and P3, okay? Then they could stay. But you that want to go get your share of that money, that is the reason why we calculated and came out to $1,000 each.
The refugee board does not have a budget for refugee assistance per se. The UNHCR made it clear that they were not in a position to fund that kind of amount for each refugee to return home.
Though the Buduburam camp is hardly the place to live, humanitarian officials say the camp is a success story, a model of how self-reliant refugees can build a thriving community and work hand in hand with some aid agencies. Because of the difficult nature in obtaining work permits, these refugees had to work hard in the informal economy.
I pray here and say we want flat attachment.
We tell God thank you, because for what we do here, at least we can be able to get our daily bread.
Ultimately, the greatest credit goes to the refugees themselves, especially the women, who are determined against all odds to work hard to make a decent home away from home for themselves and their children.
You're doing business, my dear. It's not even enough. It's just like the prophet is, the prophet is so little. So now it's end up going into the capital.
I attended a church, and the church had a school, and I was there teaching the children. But later on, you can't help me. 100,000, 150,000. So I started doing like what I just said, doing my little petty skills business. And that's what I've been looking at. And looking at women who I got over 4 brothers. I got about 3 sisters and my son. And everybody just sitting. So I have tried to, I'm tired. I just want to put a halt to the whole refugee life.
They have not ever expand services onto the Liberian refugees for us to really feel their support.
Those schools that were constructed by the UN, their fees are more than the private schools that churches built.
We pay for water. A bucket of water here, some places is 2,000. A bucket, just one bucket. See, this gallon. 825. This Ghana.
I'm a very self-rented or land from a Ghanaian called Pakwesi, and I constructed my own house for 4 years. And after the 4 years, he asked me to pay for rent in the house that I constructed. That, of course, I'm paying my own rent now.
UNHCR have been providing food since we came, but it came to a time that the UNHCR told us they were pulling out of here. Firstly, it was in 2000, June 2000. They pulled out of here, and we were all by ourselves in this camp, taking care of ourselves. And later on, they came back because I think the war in Liberia intensified again. And so they came back on this camp in 2003. When they came back, they didn't come back in full. What do I mean? They did not come back with this medication, this food distribution, education, and what have you. They didn't come back with that in their full. But they were able to give food to some vulnerable people, as we call them.
They barely distribute maize meal, corn, and agro oil to the vulnerable people.
But I don't know how do they determine vulnerable. Except because I'm fat and she was slim girl, so she's vulnerable. So I don't know how do they discover vulnerable cases.
I don't know how they will say vulnerable people when we all are vulnerable. That's why we came to Ghana for refuge.
The Ghana Refugee Board or the Ghana government or the UNHCR cannot afford to feed or support every Liberian refugee in the country.
When strangers are expected, they go and open it for you to fetch water. When the stranger leave, it is over. And even to the toilets you go, you don't enter the toilets freely. You pay something before you enter, 500. So that way you don't have 500 and maybe you have 1,000 to take back. The 1,000 you have to take your shower or to buy water and take back. You won't go to use it on the toilet. You will go on the bush side to toilet.
It is in line with their agitation that on the 17th of March 2008 can never be forgotten in the history of Liberians in the Buduburan refugee settlement.
The 17th of March 2008, it was to my utmost surprise at the hour of 5:20 to 5:30 in the morning.
Few concerned women of the Buduburan camp decided to go at the football park for a sit-in protest.
The demonstration was illegal since they had not sought permission, since they were disrupting other activities from taking place on the camp. Children were stopped from going to school. All other activities on the camp were stopped.
The law says that you need to inform the police. And according to the women and some documents that they gave us, they did inform their police post at the camp. So from where I'm standing, I do not think anybody can say that they did not inform the police because they have documents to that effect.
I had a microphone giving announcement concerning about our prayers that we should have on our prayers and don't feel reluctant to pray. Within the scope of that time, I saw the police pick up. When the police pick up came, there were about 10 buses plus and we were into the cycle of the police, well armed and pointing at us.
The Minister of Interior is allowed by law to do that. He had designated the Kodiabe youth training camp as a refugee settlement and requested that the demonstrating women and children be transferred and relocated to the Kodiabe Youth Training Center.
They were crying, so I was able to calm them. When I came there, I had a word of prayer and I composed myself. The general for the police got down, the big man. He had on the kente agbata with a plain cloth and he came and walked to me. He said, give me the microphone and I gave it to him. He said, you hot. I don't want to talk, but tell your people, you have violated the law of Ghana. So I have come to pick you up to carry you. I said, but sir, who am I to violate the laws of Ghana? I'm just a refugee. I have not violated the law of Ghana. And he told me, I have not come to hear from you. I have come to tell you what I mean. You had a meeting with the Interior Minister on the 11th day of March, and I've been a week now today, that we don't want to integrate you. We told you it. And now you still continue to be out here. So I have come to pick you and I asked him, why are you carrying me? He said, to where, when you violate the laws, to where they can take you. Then he said, go and tell your people now to pick up their things and let them come so that we can leave. So I told him to please allow me to use the mark, the mark to have my people informed. So he gave me the chance. By that time he left, I told the people. And by that time, the cars came very close to the refugees because they drove on the camp. All of the cars were on the camp. They drove on the camp, on the refugee camp. Even when we want to go out to urinate, no. I have to urinate into their person with women being around me because I was very jammed. And then they opened the back part of the bus and a personal car that is with small wire, and then they can put prisoner in. They put the people in, close the door, and like one other car was there. They put them there, it was very packed, and people was fainting. I think about 2 persons got fainted there. And they said realize and start to choke them down.
So I sat down with the baby, tried to yes, the baby that, in case I'm a baby mother, they will not do anything to me. But when I sat down, I had the police making it, they started beating me. You see the good man, he stabbed me, all my feet, my chest, everything, threw the baby down.
I'm not aware of issues regarding brutalities during the movement of the refugees from Buduburam to Kodiabe. My reports we had was that they were quite eager to get onto the vehicles that were conveying them because, again, they had been misinformed by the leadership of the demonstrations that they were being taken away for resettlement in the U.S.
Did they inform them that they were being arrested?
Even Ghanaian children within the locality who actually were urged to go onto the buses by their parents, thinking that they were being taken to America.
I doubt that very much. If they were told that they were being arrested, they would have boarded the bus.
But one beat another woman on her knee. The need is there so little.
The pitiful thing about it, some of the women only came outside from the bedroom to buy bread and take it back to the children. Unfortunately, they were caught up in the process.
And they carried the people to a town called Diaby. And since they've been there, they talk about 600 plus to 700 women and children that they are carrying. Some children went with their mothers left. Some mothers went with their children on ground. So now we are in a lost situation.
According to them, the day they came, there were no mattresses and the facilities were just not there. I think the next day, the day that we went, the UNHCR brought them some mattresses. And the water situation was bad. Sanitation was nothing to write home about. We found some women lying on the floor. The women complained that there were scorpions and snakes around. And the first day we went, there were no tents. So the condition was really bad.
The vulnerable women amongst the group, like the pregnant women, the very young children, lactating mothers, were returned to the camp just on humanitarian grounds.
On the 22nd of March 2008, the men on the camp had their turn.
Few of our brothers who play basketball left and went at the basketball court. So police came again and picked those guys at the basketball court, picked them up. Before we realized the police was in the community arresting men. Reason, we don't know.
Some of the people who've been arrested is threatening the stability and the security of our country.
As to what kind of threat they are to security, I do not know.
Those guys were taken to town, turned over to government, and only to hear that those that were taken, some of them were preparing for deportation. Why?
There are some more. They are illegal immigrants. And these are some of the people who've been promoting the breach of our country's laws.
It's so vague, and it's a bit difficult for me because some of these people have been here with us for so many years. And less than a week, they've become a threat to the security of Ghana.
Many of them were registered refugees. Few of them work with me in this office.
I got up this morning and I saw the police van all around, so I got dressed and went there to find out what was the mission because, I work with the council, I work with the management. And the police escorted me. He said, let's go so we can find out. So when we came to the bus, he said, get inside. So I got inside. They have not told us anything. And when I came here, they said those who are working with Liberian Welfare Council, they should give them separate names, and they took down our names. And this is my ID card, but I don't know what is happening.
They have their cars, and they were deported in their short pants while they were practicing. How can you facilitate somebody like that?
We have excellent reasons why we should be so firm on them.
Owing to these factors, the then Minister of Interior, Honorable Kwamena Bartels, on the 1st of April 2008, held a press conference in Accra.
We will not sit down unconcerned for our national security to be jeopardized, where people who have been given our hospitality continue to undermine the security of our country. Our national security is supreme, and it shall not be compromised under any circumstances whatsoever.
This, among other statements, incurred the displeasure of all Liberian refugees as well as some nationals.
Liberians do not have any right to block anybody road here. Another thing, it was their right. The women did not even go into throwing stones. So why would they go to block road? And again, he said they were naked. It is not true. Somebody is asking for something. I want you to help me with this so that I can go to establish my life. Why would they go naked? To prove what?
If people were really naked, where's the evidence? The media is all over the place, so somebody could have at least taken pictures of the naked women.
Some few days later after the conference, the issue of deportation of some of the Liberian refugees was moved to the Accra High Fast Track Court, presided over by Justice P.K. Jaisayo. Counsel for the refugees, Nana Oyelitho, sought injunction on the deportation order. The UNHCR and Nana Oyelitho indicated with evidence that they were claiming refugee status by a section of the law which stated that one could be a refugee if his or her family enjoys refugee status in a country.
According to Article 12 of the refugee law, even if you have not been registered and you have a relative who has been registered, then the law confers refugee status to you, at least the rights. But the Attorney General is saying that even the relatives, their refugee status has been revoked. And we are saying that no, there's a process for revoking refugee status, and the Director of Immigration and Refugee Board have not gone through that process.
Their counsel, in applying to the court, stated that they are not documented. So if you are not documented, how can you say you are a refugee? You are not a refugee. Simple as that. Simplicity.
But it was unfortunate that no family member came out to make any claims out of the 23 illegal immigrants.
We learned from our clients that they were deported on Saturday morning, but that does not prevent us from pursuing this case because we believe that the judgment was wrong in law.
Fortunately or unfortunately, the refugees lost their battle with the state, and so they had their refugee status revoked. They were, however, asked to go home.
We are willing to go, but the process we are appealing now to the Minister of Internal Affairs to convey on the UNHCR staff, because these people, they come to work only 2 hours.
The process is very, very slow. The staff on the ground from the UNHCR, they are small. You understand me? We need more people to do the work.
Left my home from small, and I really want to go back and do my home, and even contribute to the development process.
I think the two countries, they are highly related. So I believe that we will hold up to the relationship. There is nothing going to separate the relationship between Liberia and Ghana.
Using the issue of fundamental human rights as an instrument for final judgment, were these people treated right just before they could say goodbye to Ghanaians?